I don't often run it now these days. I used to use it a lot. It's quite quiet actually, it's a relatively quiet compressor. But it would be a little bit noisy whilst I'm airbrushing. But I also have a garage compressor, which is, not surprisingly, in the garage. And I run an airline from there into the house. And to here. And that means it's really rather quiet, because you can't hear it, because the garage is some distance away. And the other reason is that I often use that compressor also when I'm doing the inside. I use that compressor also when I'm engraving. So, and I can't use the airbrush compressor for that whilst I'm engraving because it doesn't produce enough air for engraving. Now, if you do use a compressor, a sort of a garage type compressor, then a couple of things you have to be aware of. Usually they are oil lubricated. They're not oil free or oilless. Now my airbrush compressor is an oilless compressor. It doesn't have any oil. But the garage compressor does have oil, which you have to check from time to time and top up, just like in your car. But what that does mean is oil sometimes leaks past the piston in the compressor and gets into the air lines. Now, one thing you don't want is compressor oil coming out on your painting, for example, or here on your model, because basically the paint doesn't stick where oil is landed. And there can be quite a lot of oil comes out, relatively speaking, as well. It's certainly enough to ruin all of these pieces that I'm painting now. So one thing you do have to use, if you use that type of compressor, is an oil trap. To make sure that you catch the oil, preferably before it goes into your oil line. So put the oil trap on the compressor itself, and then you don't contaminate the lines, and that way you can use them for all sorts of things. If you need to use tools which require oil, and sometimes some air tools do, and you actually inject oil into the oil line, into the airline, and you keep a special airline just for that tool or those tools, and don't use it for any airbrush or painting, otherwise you will regret it. And it is worth getting decent quality oil trap and potentially a particulate filter as well. So that you don't get other dust and etc. in the airline. Now those sorts of traps are best as close to your airbrush as you can. So at the airbrush end you put a particulate trap and a water trap. Again, water is not your friend when you're spraying. If you're using water-based paint, like I am here for example, you'll suddenly get sort of extra water in it that you didn't want, which thins the paint down, can run, cause streaks and all sorts of things. If you're using an oil or solvent-based paint, then water can cause sort of bubbling type effects. Again, that's something that you want. So yeah, a water trap is always good, and you put that as close to your airbrush as you can. In fact, you can buy some pistol grip ones that you got here. Is that losing focus? Let me lock the focus on this. It's supposed to be locked, but it's reset. Okay, focus is now locked. Yeah, you can get pistol grip ones which go here, just at this point where the airline meets the airbrush. That's okay, because I've got such a long line. Mine is at the other end of this hose. I've got a large water trap over there, which because I've also got one on the compressor. I very rarely get any water in it at this end. I do sometimes get some at the other end, but they most of the water, because I'm using a large tank, I'm using a 50 litre air tank, it tends to condense in the tank rather than in the lines. When I use the small compressor, the airbrush compressor, I do put the trap here, because it does condense in the lines, because it's such a short distance from the compressor to here, so the lines get warm, and warm is what causes the condensation. This is relatively noisy just because of air getting into all the small slots and places, and it's got a whistling basically. Ow! Just got cramp. Okay, and then the final bit is the cab here. Oh, well, cab roof, then we'll do the cab. Cab's the awkward one really to try and get in, so I shall do that one last. Just turning on the air, not the paint, and I can blow out things like dust from inside there. A little difficult to do to see what I've done or haven't done there. And the difficulty is getting in small areas like that, and it's even difficult when you're doing it with a paintbrush, of course, as well. Really difficult to see that edge. I'm out of practice. At one time I would have been able to run down that edge with a single pass. I wasn't succeeding then. Although I'm getting better. If you've got areas that you can't get into very easily, the trick is not to blast paint in, hoping it'll go in there. It's to do little bits and come back and take another look, do a little bit, come back, take a look, and keep doing it in small parts. You're more likely to get coverage that way. Bit too much paint there. Try that out. Too much paint also can cause things like cracking and other paint movements. That looks like there's a little bit perhaps of it's cracking a little bit, so there's perhaps some solvent, some silicone left on that. Again, not so bothered because it's inside the lid, the cap. And basically won't be seen at all. But essentially I've put a bit too much paint on there. Sometimes it can be a good thing to go crosswise at a different angle like this. I'm going up and down, and in a minute I'll go left to right again. Also remembering, if you've got raised areas like this and you're spraying, you've got to move one in relation to the other so you get the edges of the raised areas. Otherwise they come out, especially if you're in colour, they come out missing colour. Here it's be a bit difficult to see with them being pure white, but the same thing occurs. And what you can get if you put a top coat over something like this where you've missed some area is it'll appear slightly darker, because this is white, so the white has an effect. So if you spray something over cream, which is the base colour of this, or over white, there'll be a subtle shade difference between them. And I'm just looking, I've got most of that covered, I think. Yeah, a bit too much paint there, I think. So next part then is the inside of this, which is going to be a bit of a pig to spray. And actually I probably should have done this with the cup rather than this this thing, but there we go. You get to see me struggle painting the inside of this. At least one advantage of this though is I can tilt it down like that with this bottle, which I would have difficulties with if I was doing it with a cup. I am generating a lot of overspray here because I'm spraying this from quite a way distance up, but for this doesn't matter. I'll only go on my piece of paper here that's protecting the bench. Now this might be a bit difficult for you to see, I'm afraid, but now, you won't see this, but I can smell it as well. As I'm spraying in there, the air is hitting the top and bouncing back out, dragging the paint with it. So paint is coming out here. What I should be wearing is a mask, a spray mask. But there's two difficulties with that. One is if I put it on and I use a proper spray mask, solvent mask, when I do that, is it covers my face, my nose and mouth, doesn't cover my eyes. You wouldn't be able to hear me talk at all, so I wouldn't be able to say anything. Plus, it looks silly. I don't care if it looks silly, by the way. You know, it's better to look silly and have healthy lungs. Okay, so if I was doing it a lot, I certainly would be wearing the mask. Because I'm only doing this, a very small amount of this. I am accepting the risk. The other thing I could do